So I just did a video talking about Will Howard and why there's a lot of slander around his name, maybe warranted slander if you want to put it that way, going into a pivotal year at Ohio State, where it feels like the Buckeyes are built to win a championship. But it got me thinking, have you noticed that there is a lot of actual slander around certain players, positions, coaches, programs in college football? And there's no more than I would say Brian Kelly at LSU. Because let's just be real and keep things straight. If anybody else said some of the things that Brian Kelly said, you would actually agree with it. But the big problem is you just hate Brian Kelly. So let's go ahead and discuss. But if you're new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, make sure that you hit subscribe, like the video, and hit the comment section with your thoughts. Is Brian Kelly just a terrible human being in your eyes, which is why you actually don't like him? Make sure that also you tell your friends, family, mortal enemies, best of bros, college football fans, Notre Dame fans, LSU fans, anybody that likes Brian Kelly, most people that hate Brian Kelly, because this is a video about hating him. Make sure that also you're following me on all the social media platforms at Mr. Cole Thompson, because I want to be the #1 college football content creator on this app. And to keep up with everything that I'm doing, having live streams and live mailbag videos, go ahead and email me, colethompsonwriting@gmail.com, or slide in the DMs on Twitter. College football fans, I honestly just think hate Brian Kelly. Like, this has nothing to do with his coaching style. This has absolutely nothing to do with his win-loss record. This has nothing to do with the results. Because if you were to take every coach in college football right now, who would you pick for a one-season finish? That'd be easy. Kirby Smart. Because you can't take Urban Meyer. Absolutely, you can't take him. You can't take Nick Saban anymore because he's no longer in the game. There's a lot of up-and-comers that you really like. Dan Lanning is a high-profile guy. Mike Norvell gets mentioned a lot. Kalen DeBoer just led Washington to back-to-back 11-plus win seasons and a national championship. You can't take Jim Harbaugh because he's in the NFL. You would take easily Kirby Smart. You wouldn't take even Dabo Swinney because Dabo doesn't want to work the transfer portal. But then we get to number 2. And what's so funny is number 2, just based off of wins, losses, based off of accolades, based off of what he's done with his consistency, with program development, with sending players to the NFL, it all points back to the guy that's going into his 3rd year down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But yet nobody wants to actually give him a fair shake. There's a lot of people down at LSU that probably are going to say, I love Brian Kelly. I commit to Brian Kelly. I believe he is the right person to lead my team into the future and give us hope, promise, potential, and maybe even a national championship. But then, hiding in the boondocks on the other side, there will be LSU fans that say, I can't stand him. If he doesn't do this, this, and this year, I want him out of the building. Because Nick Saban did it. Les Miles did it. Ed Orgeron did it. But Brian Kelly hasn't been to one conference championship, didn't win it. Last year, had a high-profile offense, couldn't fix the defense. So let me ask you. We go back to the comments that were made not too long ago. He was doing the television bit with Jacques down in Baton Rouge. Jacques been very well known. He is established in Louisiana media. If you don't know him, then you probably need to go ahead and check him out. But you hear about the comments being made when it comes to bringing in the right type of talent via the transfer portal, and that he didn't want to spend a certain amount of NIL funds because of he believes on the culture of the locker room. But many people heard, we're just not willing to pay that price. You saw a clip on Twitter. You saw a clip on Quick Little Media. You saw something on Instagram, and you said, I know the entire story. Number 1, that's a problem with society in general. We, as a coherent basis, need to completely understand that we don't know the entire information if you don't sit and watch the clip. And by the way, the clip was 3 minutes long. It wasn't like a 25-minute interview. I've watched the whole interview, so I can tell you I know what he's talking about. But most people think that they understand everything about somebody in a span of 5 seconds. Well, if you watch just the 3 minutes and didn't look at the little graphic that was made by every media company out there that covers college football, you would hear him say, it's about understanding the locker room. It's about making sure that players that are bought into this team are going to be trusted, that they have earned their right. You do realize that when you talk about guys like Dominic Williams and Simeon Barrow, the 2 defensive linemen that were going to want to come to LSU, they wanted to get the right amount of NIL funds. Didn't matter if they went to Oklahoma, didn't matter if they went to Miami, they could have gone to Georgia, they could have gone to North Carolina for that matter. Their entire intent was making sure that they got paid. And yes, that is going to be the case for some people. But you know who doesn't do that? You know who's willing to bring in the right players for the right price while also developing talent in his own state at his own program? Kirby Smart. So if you just literally said, hey, Kirby Smart said, we're not willing to pay for the certain type of players that are only in this for NIL, that are only in this to bring in money, and that this is not the right school for you, you would probably say that that is 100% factual. Good on Kirby. He absolutely knows what he's talking about. And then Kirby, like in the great mystery that is Scooby-Doo, unveils the mask, and there's Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you social media gurus and that muttering dog. That would have been you, because he's saying the exact same thing, but the problem is that there aren't the results that are at the same level as Kirby. Except also just remind yourself, Kirby took 5 years to get a national championship at Georgia. Kirby also was winning on the recruiting trail, but it took 4 years for him to get a number one class. Does anybody know where LSU ranks right now going into this recruiting cycle for 2025? Second, and they're in the running for first, and there's a very good shot that they will come out on top. They have the number one quarterback of 2025 on their roster, the number 3 wide receiver, the number 2 defensive lineman. They literally rebuilt an entire team overnight in 2022, and they went 10-3, beat Alabama in Baton Rouge, played down to the wire after being eviscerated by Georgia in the SEC championship game, get a win, and have back-to-back 10-win seasons. He just went out and he built up this portal class with premier talent. And he's trusting the quarterback that he developed and has said, you bought into me, I'm going to buy into you. I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to add in a high guy like a Cam Ward or a Will Howard or somebody else. Garrett Nussmeier, I'm going to trust is the right person for my team. I'm going to trust that Joel Sloan is going to be the right coordinator for my team. Oh, and by the way, that defense that was god-awful, that cost us a shot at going to the playoff last year, everybody's gone. Everybody. Blake Baker, you know what? I was wrong to let you go. Here's $1 million, $2 million actually, to go be my coordinator. Bo Davis, I need somebody to fix my defensive line. I'm going to pay you enough to come on over and feel content for this team. So he's making changes. He's adapting to college football. He's doing just like Kalen DeBoer does. He's doing just like Dan Lanning does. He's doing just like Mike Norvell. And you could throw in probably Kirby. And you got to throw in everybody besides Dabo and maybe Jim Harbaugh, who's no longer here. So it's a moot point. But yet he's the one that gets the criticism, which leads me to believe you just don't like Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly could cure cancer, find the solution to the waters problems in Africa, be able to bring a world peace to our country and throughout the global universe, and there still would be some random son of a bitch that would just say, yeah, but you remember what happened when he was at Notre Dame? Yeah, you can't take that away. But is that a reason to literally hate on a coach that's just proven time and time and at every single level of the field, whether it be Conference USA, whether it be FCS, whether it be in the MAC, whether it be at the independent, a high-profile independent, where, by the way, still in my books, he is the all-time winner at Notre Dame in wins. And now in the SEC, I know how to do what I'm doing, and I'm pretty damn good at it. Yeah, there's still just going to be people out there that hate Brian Kelly. So the point being with this whole video, you're going to hear slander in college football. There's just going to be realities of people not liking people. You're never going to get along with everybody in your life, but you are going to have to at least accept that when they start doing the results and proving that they are trending upward, they are making the right moves, they are putting a program in a better situation than what was in the past, and it's sustainable. Whether or not you like them, you got to go ahead and tip your cap. Just go, I was wrong, Brian Kelly. You were right. You were the right hire to begin with. Some people are never going to agree that Brian Kelly is good for college football. There'll be a lot of people that will say he's never going to do anything at LSU until he does. And then all we're going to do is just see a bunch of haters that truly prove my point. Brian Kelly's just not a likable person. It doesn't mean that he's bad at his job. But let me know in the comment section down below. Is Brian Kelly actually a problem in college football? Why do people hate on him? Like, what is the entire premise of that? Make sure that you like, rate, review, subscribe. Go ahead and hit the comment section. Tell your friends, family, mortal enemies, best of bros, LSU fans, Brian Kelly haters, Brian Kelly truthers, Brian Kelly conspiracy theorists out there that I know exist somewhere about this channel, because we're on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking about our favorite sport. Make sure that also you're following me on all the social media channels at Mr. Cole Thompson. And of course, if you want to have a video turned off into a one-type thing, email me, colethompsonwriting@gmail.com. I am Cole Thompson. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. Later. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But before you leave, make sure that you hit subscribe. And if you want to check out any of our other great work, make sure you click on one of the videos here. Am I pointing at the right spot? I'm not entirely sure. I'm really not.